Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the opening chapter of Lu Ximian's A General History of China. Let's begin our journey into Lu's historical world. So what exactly is history? And why should we study it? Traditionally, people have said, history is a mirror for the present, meaning, if we don't know where we're going, we should look to the past. If something succeeded before, we might use it as a model. If it failed, we take it as a warning. That sounds reasonable at first, but if you think a bit more deeply, it's not so simple. The world keeps changing. What worked in the past might not apply today. Trying to treat new problems with old solutions can be ineffective or even harmful. In fact, early interactions between China and Western countries often failed because of this exact mindset. This is exactly the point Lu Ximian makes at the start of his book. He lays out his philosophy of history right from the beginning. And that's important. With a book this dense and complex, if the author doesn't first explain his perspective, readers can quickly lose their way. Now, let's break down a few key phrases Lu uses in this opening. Take the phrase, lessons from past mistakes, which in Chinese is often expressed as Ten Che End, literally, a mirror from the overturned cart in front. The word gen originally referred to a large bronze basin used in ancient China to reflect one's appearance, kind of like a mirror. Over time, it came to mean to reflect, to observe, or to learn from. This expression comes from the Han Shu, Book of Han, where the historian Ban Gu quoted the proverb, "When the cart in front overturns, the ones behind should take caution." It's a vivid image. Someone ahead of you crashes, so you'd better steer carefully. Lu also uses the phrase "bujilai, shi zhu wan," roughly, if you don't know what's coming, look to what has been. This line originates from Dong Zhongshu's luxuriant dew of the Spring and Autumn Annals. Dong was a Confucian scholar in the Han Dynasty, famous for promoting the ideology of rejecting all other schools and honoring only Confucianism. He also introduced the idea of three bonds. The ruler guides the subject, the father guides the son, the husband guides the wife. This deeply shaped Chinese social norms for centuries. And here's a fun fact. Many people think these ideas came from Confucius himself, but they didn't. Confucius's original saying was more nuanced. The ruler should behave like a ruler, the minister like a minister, the father like a father, and the son like a son. That's about roles and responsibilities, not hierarchy or suppression. Now back to Lu's main idea. He's skeptical of using history as a one-size-fits-all guide for the future. Just because something happened in the past doesn't mean repeating it will bring the same outcome. Then he shifts to another common belief, that history should record objective facts. Like, just tell it as it is. But Lu pushes back against this too. He says, can you really claim what you know is the full truth? Even if you're trying to be objective, you're still filtering events through your own lens, your values, your emotions, your assumptions. He calls this idea naive or worse, dishonest. In his words, to believe in pure objectivity in history is either ignorance or deceit. He even touches on an unusual word, sinju. Sinju. It describes a mixed feeling of admiration and fear. Lu uses it to highlight that reading history isn't emotionless. Feelings and biases are always involved. Then there's the idea that history should teach moral lessons praising good people and condemning bad ones. Lu's take? That's overly simplistic. You can't draw moral conclusions from events you don't fully understand. And if your sources are flawed, your judgment is flawed too. So what's his real point? Lu says history isn't about judging, it's about analyzing. Not just what happened, but why it happened, and what it tells us about the society at the time. He introduces a classic distinction in Chinese thought. Shuwei, meaning learning or understanding this, is the essence, or ti. Shu, meaning technique or method. This is the function, or yong. History, Lu says, belongs to Sui. It's about understanding the inner logic of society, not teaching methods or strategies for governance. He gives a great example. You are who you are because of your upbringing, your education, your friends, your environment. All those factors shape you. Society works the same way. Its shape today is molded by countless past influences. That's what history tries to uncover. He even uses the metaphor Tao Zhu, meaning to mold and cast, like shaping pottery or forging metal. History, he says, shapes people and cultures through long-term influence region by region, person by person. And then comes another great insight. People often say, history is just recording events. But Lu says, that's not enough. There are too many events. Even a single day's newspaper contains more than you could ever write down. So the key question becomes, what should we record? Lu's answer is, record what helps us understand how the present came to be. Not everything needs to be remembered, but we must remember the things that shaped the world we live in. That's why Lu criticizes traditional historians for focusing too much on great men and great wars. He believes this misses the point. Those events didn't happen in a vacuum. They were shaped by society, and in turn, they reshaped society. For example, wars don't just start. They emerge from social tensions, economic shifts, political missteps. You have to look deeper. He argues that real history needs to examine the common people and everyday events. Why? Because the small changes the cultural habits, the public moods, the slow evolution of ideas. Those are the true drivers of historical transformation. He makes an elegant comparison. Big events are like earthquakes. But earthquakes don't come out of nowhere. They're the result of tiny tectonic shifts, invisible but persistent. That's what Lu calls Fenghua, the subtle changes in values, customs, and everyday life. Without understanding those, we can't understand the dramatic events either. And finally, we arrive at Lu's key thesis. History is the study of how society evolves. That's it. That's the heart of the book. Not memorizing names and dates, not idolizing emperors and generals, but understanding how people lived, how societies changed, and how those changes brought us to where we are now. So if you're used to history as a list of rulers and wars, this book will challenge you. If you're curious about how real historical thinking works, stick with us. We're not just reading a general history of China, we're unpacking its logic, its insights, and its relevance to our world today. Thanks for watching. If you like this approach to history, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, The Storyteller. We'll continue this journey with Lu Simian next episode. See you then!